Hello, brothers and sisters. This is James from The Last Ego on Earth. Today, I wanted to tell you guys a story about about 10 years ago, when I was really stuck in the ego. The ego had consumed my life slowly over the years, and I didn't even know it. Little by little, I started believing in the things that people were saying, or just the things that I was making up in my head. And it made it for a very, very dark world for me. Not saying that my entire life was that way, because I did have my ups and downs of happiness. But slowly, those things sunk down and made me feel very, very small. I felt like I was in a box. I felt like I couldn't get out. That's the ego's trick. It will do that to you, and it will continue to tell you that you're not worthy of anything of happiness. But when I had a very large asking one night, and I pretty much surrendered everything that I was like, I just don't know what I'm doing, and I know that if you're out there, please answer me. The very next day, the Course in Miracles came to me, and it was beyond coincidence. I knew it. I could feel it in my heart. So when it was handed to me and I read that cover and I read that first page, I was already hooked. I knew that this was my journey that I needed to take. And I did. So for the last 10 years, slowly but surely, I gained that trust with Holy Spirit and with Jesus. And Jesus is like my best friend. He's like your best friend. Doesn't judge, just waits kindly, nudges you to do certain things. And the main thing is just to let go of all that unconscious guilt that you have inside. And before you know it, it's lighter and lighter, and the world gets more and more beautiful. It really does. So I hope you enjoy this episode of The Last Ego on Earth. This is the ego and the miracle, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace be with you again, brothers and sisters. Bye-bye. Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to The Last Ego on Earth. My name is James Scott Shoemaker, and I've had some questions about some of the things that we're talking about, because if you're new to the course, you might not know some of the terms. So I'm going to go back in the back of the book. There is the clarification of terms, and I thought we could read a little bit more. Last time I spoke about what is forgiveness and the face of Christ. So today I thought we would take a look at what the ego and the miracle is in the back of the Foundation for Inner Peace edition here of A Course in Miracles. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. The ego, the miracle. This is number 2 in the clarification of terms, page 81. Number 1, illusions will not last. Their death is sure, and this alone is certain in their world. It is the ego's world because of this. What is the ego? But a dream of what you really are. A thought you are apart from your creator and wish to be what he created not. It is a thing of madness, not reality at all. A name for nameless is all it is. A symbol of impossibility. A choice for options that do not exist. We name it, but to help us understand that it is nothing but an ancient thought that what is made has immortality. But what can come of this except a dream, which, like all dreams, can only end in death? All right, well, the good news is number 1, illusions will not last. So their death is sure, and this alone is certain in their world. It is the ego's world because of this. So what Jesus is saying here, that this is the ego's world where we're living right now, in this dream. We are only dreaming a dream that feels very real. Heaven is real. Connecting back to God is real. A lot like within the Bible, it speaks of when he went 40 days and 40 nights into the desert. He was tempted by the ego. Like, I can give you this entire world. And Jesus said he didn't want anything of this world. So that right there is showing you, basically saying the same thing here. We do not want anything of this world. All we want is to return back to source, back to God. The death, destruction, the pain, and all of that stuff is stuff that we have created that is not of God. Also, says it's a symbol of impossibility, a choice for options that do not exist. Again, doesn't exist here. The ego. It seems very real. It is our computer system, and we all are connected to that. That's why it's like a collective consciousness in the world. We all have that separated part of ourselves, and our minds do that. What I like to think of it is a little bit like our cell phones. We all have a cell phone. We all have a smartphone, but each one of us has different apps on it. We have locking systems on our phones that kind of lock us and makes our own little phone scenario that we use, or programming that we have programmed into that phone. And everybody has one, but it is the same information on every phone. It's just rewired certain ways. And I can't get into your phone because you have your own individual passcode and things like that. I just kind of like to use that sort of as a metaphor. Number 2, what is the ego? Nothingness, but in form that seems like something. In a world of form, the ego cannot be denied, for it alone seems real. Yet could God's Son, as he created him, abide in form or in a world of form? Who asks you to define the ego and explain how it rose can be but who thinks it's real and seeks by definition to ensure that its elusive nature is concealed behind the words that seem to make it so. So right here in number 2, Jesus is saying that it's nothingness. The ego is a construct that we have created to block our true reality. He's really trying to hit it home to explain that this world is nothing that we really want. It's a construct that we have created that is of pain and guilt and suffering and things like that. And we need to be able to connect to Holy Spirit. Then our world becomes a classroom of forgiveness. So the ego itself is nothing, and we don't need to be afraid of it. We just need to look upon it and say that it isn't so. Connect back to the source of love, of God, and allow Jesus, Holy Spirit, to help us. Once we ask, we can help us get back on track and our path to forgiveness so that we can just walk right on in back home. All right, number 3. There is no definition for a lie that serves to make it true, nor can there be a truth that lies concealed effectively. The ego's unreality is not denied by words, nor its meaning clear, because its nature seems to have form. Who can define the undefinable? And yet there is an answer even here. Number 3 here, Jesus is just letting us know that we cannot make something true no matter how we want to make it true. No matter how much we're like, they did that to me, or the world is absolutely crazy and it's trying to destroy me. It's still a lie. It feels very real to us, but it's still just an illusion. Like I said, we just need to connect to Holy Spirit, and we'll be able to see that that is so by just letting it go and see that we're actually safe. All right, number 4, we cannot make a definition for what the ego is, but we can say what it is not. And this is shown to us with perfect clarity. It is from this that we deduce that all that the ego is. Look at its opposite, and you can see the answer, only the answer that is meaningful. And that answer to the ego, of course, is Holy Spirit or Jesus. Like I said in the paragraph before, it's all just a trick, and there's only one or the other. There's either love or fear. One's from the ego, and one's from love. So the choice is there always to make the choice for Jesus or the Holy Spirit. Number 5, the ego's opposite in every way, in origin, effect, and consequence, we call a miracle. And here we find all that is not the ego in this world. Here is the ego's opposite, and here alone we look on what the ego was. For here we see all that it seemed to do, and cause and its effects must still be one. And here we go again. It says here on number 3 or 5:3 here, it says here is the ego's opposite. In here alone we look on an ego, on what the ego was. For here we see what it seemed to do. So it all just seems to have happened to us. But when we choose the miracle or choose forgiveness, Holy Spirit, that's when we can start undoing the ego out of our mind and realize that we're safe. That we're safe, and that anything that ego puts in front of us, that we have that opportunity to ask for Holy Spirit or Jesus to take it away from us. Like I said, I've said this before, laying in bed at night, you can able to dejunk some of those things that you might have seen in the world today that seemed very real, like maybe something on the news, something your daughter said, a death or a death in the family, being fired from a job, a murder. I mean, anything that seems destructive and is upsetting your peace is not our reality. That's what the Course teaches. It seems very real to us. It's like a nightmare. But with Holy Spirit and with Jesus, we can look upon those things, allow us to take that out of us by just saying, please take these thoughts out of my head and hand them over on the altar of God that we were speaking of in the last episode, that we then start dejunking or defragging our mind and handing it over. The lighter and lighter those nightmarish scenarios will just dissipate. Number 6, where there was darkness now, we see light. What is the ego? What the darkness was. Where is the ego? Where the darkness was. What is now, and where can it be found? Nothing and nowhere. Now that the light has come, its opposite has gone without a trace. Where evil was, there now is holiness. What is the ego? What the evil was. Where is the ego? In an evil dream that but seemed real while you were dreaming it. Where there was crucifixion stands God's Son. What is the ego? Who has need to ask? Where is the ego? Who has need to seek for an illusion now that dreams are gone? So number 6 here is really, really good news. Once we start choosing the light, it's asking us, like, where's the ego? Where's he gone? Where is it? Oh, it's where evil used to be. Once you start doing these things, and you are, if you are in a pain state, once you start doing these things and start handing them over to the higher power, to Holy Spirit, to Jesus, it's really just, it feels like magic. But it is, we're uncovering our blocks to love's presence, just like with the Course purposes. Before you know it, you're like, where is that eagle? I mean, where is the evil? Eagle, where's the evil? Where is that evil? It's gone. It starts leaving your life. Instead of maybe focusing yourself on some newspapers or some negative something in the newspaper, you find yourself distracted with your daughter, and you start having joy in your life, and you're not so enwrapped in the things that everyone else is speaking of. You go kayaking, or you're knitting, or anything of joy and of love. Holy Spirit starts guiding you on a path of that instead of the other. So number 6 here is just speaking of, is once we choose Holy Spirit, those evil things are also showing you that those were just dreams, just nightmarish dreams that start vanishing from your life. What is a miracle? A dream as well. But look at all the aspects of this dream, and you will never question any more. Look at the kind world you see extend before you. Walk in gentleness. Look at all the helpers along the way you travel, happy in the certainty of heaven and the surety of peace. And look an instant too, on what you left behind at last, and finally passed by. On number 7 too, it says, what is a miracle? A dream as well. As we spoke of what the miracle is in the clarification of terms, in reality, in God's world, forgiveness isn't even necessary. It's the miracle, or the forgiveness, is only necessary in this nightmarish dream that we've created. So it says once the nightmarish dream is over and we start returning to heaven, the miracle or the forgiveness aspect will dissipate. The Holy Spirit, Jesus, us as the sonship will last forever in eternity with God. But the things of this world will fall away. Now, that does not mean our family members, our dogs, and everything that we love in this world dissipate. We just are one with them. They are one with us. There's just no longer pain and suffering. Even for the people that we have lost, they are there also. Towards the end of 7 here, number 9, and look on an instant on what you left behind and at last and finally passed by. So we look back and it's almost a dream of a dream. The nightmare is over. It's just passed by. The whole world of illusions has gone. Number 8, this was the ego. All the cruel hate, the need for vengeance, and the cries of pain, the fear of dying and the urge to kill, the brotherless illusion, and the self that seemed alone in all the universe. This terrible mistake about yourself, the miracle corrects as gently as a loving mother sings her child to rest. Is not a song like this what you would hear? Would it not answer all you thought to ask and even make the question meaningless? So all the terrible things that are in this world will be cradled away just like a mother rocking its baby to sleep at night. We won't even question the world anymore. It will just be undone, and we will feel wonderful and loved. Number 9, your questions have no answer, being made to still God's voice, which asks of everyone one question only: are you ready yet to help me save the world? Ask this instead of what the ego is, and you will see a sudden brightness cover up the world the ego made. No miracle is now withheld from anyone. The world is saved from what you thought it was. And what it is wholly uncondemned and wholly pure. Number 9 is pretty neat. So at this point, once we have dejunked enough of the ego's world and its thought systems, we start wondering what is our part and purpose of this. And that's exactly what the Course teaches. At this point, it is up to us to start helping ourselves by helping others. And we do that by forgiving ourselves when we see what we perceive to be separate in our reality. And that's how we save the world, our world is through that, is through, to end condemning the world. We are now aligned with a thought system that is right, which is Holy Spirit's thought system, and we can start letting that go. And the world, as we have said over and over, gets brighter and brighter. Number 10, the miracle forgives, the ego's damns. Neither need be defined except by this. Yet could a definition be more sure or more in line with what salvation is? Problem and answer lie together here, and having met at last, the choice is clear. Who chooses hell when it is recognized? And who would not go a little while when it is given him to understand the way is short and heaven is his goal? So Jesus is asking us 2 questions at the end of this, number 10. Who chooses hell when it's recognized? I don't think anyone would actually choose heaven when we recognize what it really is. When we recognize that it's nothing and we have a very easy way out by just choosing Holy Spirit, we wouldn't choose hell anymore. So he's asking this question, would you choose hell? No, I'm not going to anymore. And who would go on a little while when it's given him to understand the way is short to heaven is his goal? So the second question is, when we know that it's short and all we have to do is continually give it over, we would choose that instead of the ego system. So it's just saying it's really simple. There's only two choices. There's either heaven or hell. One's destructive and destroying you. The other is loving and will continue you in a state of joy and happiness. So the choice is really easy. It's just we feel so separated, and it seems like we've fallen so far, yet it's just two choices. It's that easy to start letting go. And the sooner you're ready to let go, the sooner we return in happiness and joy and back to God, back to the sonship that we all are. All the ego things just fall away, and it's just going to be a loving presence that we get to enjoy for eternity. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions about the clarification of terms, the ego, the miracle, in the back of the book, please leave a comment on the bottom there. Also, just let me know if you're listening. I'd love to hear from you. This has been one amazing journey so far. I think it's been just a little bit over a week that I've been doing these, and I've been getting wonderful responses from all of you. A lot of private messages we've been speaking, and it's just been absolutely amazing. Uncovering those blocks, it really works, guys. I got to tell you. Thank you so much for joining me. So the last ego on earth is just going to expand, hopefully, and continue on this journey of forgiveness and uniting other brothers and sisters so that we can have a conversation. Once again, safe zone here, guys. Conversation. We're just having a conversation. I'm learning as you're learning. We're student and teachers together, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. So peace be with you, brothers and sisters, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening or wherever you are. Good night. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So now I have a question for you before we go. Can you guys think of any way that the ego has taken over you over the past few years? Is there someone or something that you're holding on to that you can't let go? And if so, do you think that you could do it now? If you can, there is help. So just remember that Holy Spirit is there. I would love to continue this conversation though in the comments. Be brave. Just go ahead and say it. I'm going to say it. You can say it. I'll be as open as you are. It's just good to get it out. So I will talk to you guys next time on the last ego on earth, and you have a wonderful, wonderful time. Until next time, see ya. Bye-bye, guys. Oh, and one more thing before you go. On the very end of this video is one of my really good friends from high school wrote this amazing The Last Ego on Earth song. So just go ahead and follow it all the way through till the very end, and you'll see my very good friend, Marshall Pyle. You guys have a wonderful one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
yourself from the birth to the dirt. Prepare yourself for all it's worth. Prepare yourself from the birth to the dirt. Prepare yourself, the last ego on earth. Prepare yourself from the dirt to the birth. Prepare yourself from the birth to the dirt. The last ego on earth.